after 8 periods, so we are very happy today to share our strategy and learning with you. And in opening, I would like to introduce our greatest asset, which is our crew member.
Sorry, can you just turn the music off?
Yeah, you will stop next. And our CEO, Dennis. And I'm COO, Johnny. Our CFO, Vinny. And Sarab, CMO. And Anish, CTO. And in terms of our products line, we have 3 products in Sonite market and 1 in Vodite. However, tops has been removed in period 4. And our strategy, our team decided to tap in Vodite market at the very beginning to take the first mover advantage. This could be underpinned by Karen saying that first mover could enjoy the benefits of no competition and capture the majority of market share. Second, our team believed that if we can use the extra budget earlier, it would be definitely stronger for us to expand our market share when others haven't requested this extra budget. And third, effective budget allocation is simply our principle and business culture set by our CEO, Dennis Xiao. As you can see in the timeline, in periods 2, we request for $7 million and launch 2 R&D and intend to launch 2 new products in the market. As a result, we need to reduce the expenditure in our existing Sonite products. So we sank to the bottom in period 3. We finished our towers R&D, but we need to shelve the R&D for Vodite. However, in period 5, our budget doubled because of the success in Vodite market, TED being the first mover in the market and captured 100% of the market share, and the success of tower account for 51% of shopper segments in Sonite market. At this time, we simply think the rest of the company are still waiting for the ideal value for Vodite products, but actually Solomon and Ruby enter the Vodite market based on instinct characteristics and with low price too. So we face a dramatic loss. And we also realized that the ignorance of tone made this brand not competitive in the market. So we decided to launch an R&D to modify tone. And from period 8, we believe that our company will definitely top up and started to fly our ship. And next we're going to discuss 3 key events, and first will be a dismissal of tops and the launch of tower.
So our first event took place in period 2 and period 3. We decided to remove the tops based on 3 reasons. The first one is in the declining segment with a -2.1 growth rate, and which is Explorer. And the second reason is, despite the fact we put more and more budget on Explorer, our retail sales will start dropping. And the third reason is about basic geometrics, and we will talk about it later. As we remove tops, we want to launch a new Sonite product to remain competitive. So we identify 2 growing markets, shopper and saver. But eventually we chose shopper because we run the online query. The budget need for shopper is much cheaper, I think 300,000 cheaper than those for savers. And at the same time, we need money to launch a new Vodite product. So we also analyzed our competitors. As you can see here, there are 2 strong brands and strong products in saver segment. So they both got like more than 40% growth. Market share, and then but only 1 product in dominates shopper segment, which the only thing we need to do is make a better product than Solo. It's much easier. So how do we determine our characteristic of a tower? We use semantic cell and interpolation formula. This one, because at that time we don't have regression to predict the ideal value, so we calculate ourselves. And we also consider the characteristic of shoppers. They want a product with average level of convenience and performance. So, which means they don't want very high quality and high class product. But it's weird that they want quality price ratio very high. So we assume that they want the price as low as possible. We use this to prove our assumption, elasticity of demand. We decreased the price by 2%, and then it turns out that it's amazing, increased by 60%. Our retail sales increased by 60%. So we maintain the lowest price as shopper segment, even much lower than ideal value, it works. But not every segment is like is that case. So like our another product, Tone, target at professional. We initially set the price at 440, and then we increased to the exact ideal value, 481. But the retail sales still remain the same. So we can say that professional, they don't want the cheaper product. They want, because they view the price as an indication of quality. And next event will be explained by Jack.
Thank you, Rose, for that. Today I will be explaining why the need for the modification of our product tones. As you can see, there was the target. We were targeting lower base cost. What was happening was we were working on 246 as a base cost, but our competition was around 168. So that was hurting our profitability, and hence we couldn't make the money we wanted, we intended to. Second was competition also swung in. What happened was Rolex introduced a product and they were also targeting the same as what we were doing. So it became very difficult, and the blue ocean became a red ocean for us. So hence no money there. We lost a lot of money there. Thirdly would be a competitive product. So as you can see, better characteristics here is Solo. So Solo introduced a product which is having much more higher and better characteristics here, which if you compare it to Tones, so it's 17, 16, 8 and 10, 72, 74. So what was happening is they had better characteristics and at a good price. So that was hampering their sales. So that couldn't get us the numbers we wanted to. And the lastly would be ideal characteristics by Rolex. Rolex, like they had suggested that now they are targeting every market and they are targeting every ideal value. Whatever the customer wants, they are giving them that. And so we were a little away, and then that backfired on us. Secondly, would be wrongly segmented. In the start, what happened was we were targeting high earners, but that did not go well for us because our product was designed for professionals. So we learned on the way that we have to target the professionals and not the high earners. And lack of commercial teams, as these guys had also suggested that Markstrat suggested us that we have to add 10 people to every segment. That would be every channelizations for better revenues. So that is exactly what we intended to do in the next periods. And unrealistic budgets. Unrealistic budget would be like Tone was one of our most outselling and most performing products. So we did not advertise or we did not invest much in R&D because it was outselling. So we didn't really pay attention to that stuff. That is something that did not go really well for us. Coming down to product life cycle. This is the product life cycle of Tones as a product. So if you can see from period 0, we were number 1 even in the SPI and in sales. So from there, we actually introduced our product to the market, which was followed by growth. If you see period 2, there was growth, but yes, it didn't reach the maturity, and it also declined. So having said so, that is why, hence, in period 6, we have modified our product, which will enable us to introduce another ideal characteristics, and then eventually gain more market share. So yeah, following to you.
So now I'll be talking about one of the most successful decisions that we took in our simulation, that was launch of TED. So next slide. So with the launch of TED, we basically tried to capitalize on the first movers advantage and the blue ocean strategy, which is basically used to create a differentiated product at a lower price and thereby making the competition irrelevant. So with this particular launch, we experienced a rapid increase in sales. Our sales increased, our revenue increased in that one period itself to around 42 million. Our SPI rose from 1205 to 1553 in just one period, and our market share increased to 100% in one period. The only reason for our decline was that we thought that the other teams, the other companies would be waiting for the ideal values of their products, and therefore they won't be releasing the product in the next period, and therefore we kept the price at the same level even for the next period. So, but as much of our surprise, Ruby as well as Solo released their products in the market which led to decline in our sales. Our sales reduced from 42 million to 18 million again in the next period. Next slide. So as you can see, the market share for tones in that period was 100% and the reduction in sales in the next period. So now I'll be relating the BCG matrix to two of our products that we had in our simulation. First I'll be relating it to tops. So as you can see, that tops is already in the cash cow section in period 2. But as we move further, in order to improve it, we try to focus more on the highest consumer segment that tops had, which was explorers. But in period 3, after we purchased the research, we realized that the market growth for explorers were declining in the next 5 stages, next 5 periods. As a result, we had to remove the product, remove tops and introduce another product in the market. So as per tones, as you can see, that tones is going towards the dog section. This was majorly due to the reduction in the market share that we experienced with respect to tones because modification was brought by Ruby and Solo for their respective products, which reduced our market share for high earners from 40% to 12%. As a result, our tones has moved to the dog section.
So just before we go into the final part, our future planning and budget allocation, I just want to share a quote from the movie Titanic. So when you've got nothing, you have nothing to lose. So this is exactly our mentality to play this simulation, and really took that on board to make our decision on this simulation as well. So, but alongside with that, we realised that strategy and effective planning and budget allocations are really important to make us come to this far. So let's move on to, so as for period 9, we have 2 actions that we'd like to take. First of all, we would like to launch a new product, namely Toilet, in the Sonai market, which is targeting at the rapid growth segment of Saver. We already know that we have competitors which are working on this segment, but we really foresee that the biggest growing segment in Sonai, and we really want to tap into that market as well. And as you can see, all the ideal characteristics were taken from the market research that we bought from period 8, which we came up with the estimated budget of $1 million, which is relatively low for a Sonai product targeting at savers. And the second actions that we'd like to take is to launch a modification as well on our existing product TED, which is targeting at the followers, which we tend to do at the beginning, but because we were lack of financial resources to buy the research, so we didn't have the ideal characteristics to target at the segment at that time. And now, because we have our authorising budget from the last period, and so we decided that we would take that and then modifying it to become a better product, which comes to an estimated budget of 2.6 million, which is slightly cheaper when you think of launching a whole new R&D, or by modifying it, we make it more cheaper. So as for the authorising budget, we came with some calculations. So in order to maintain a position of tower in the Sonai market, we really want to emphasise on the advertising and commercial team. So we allocated 20%, an increase of 20% in that particular product, as well as launching the new product in Sonai, targeting at Saver, and a modification of Vodite. But however, we realised that with the authorising budget, we were still short in cash, which comes to a deficit of 86,000. And as for period 10 as well, successful launch of Sonai and the Vodite modification, we were required to push our promotion by increasing the advertising and make sure that we had the effective allocations on the commercial team as well, which we come to a deficit of 4.7 million, which would be the ideal budget that we want to ask for from you guys, or the investment. So all in all, we just want to commit that we really learn our lessons and we gain some experience from our previous decisions, and so we would really be grateful if you guys would reinvest to our business. So thank you very much. So we've got our reference and the appendix, which is on the hand as well on the next slide.
We're just coming back to the decision to have your additional budget right at the beginning of the 7 million. Had you had your time again, do you think you would have pursued a different strategy? And if so, what would you have done differently?
I think if we would have done it differently, we would take the 7 million at the very beginning. If that was possible, if that was a route we can take it, we'll take it way earlier than that, because we do foresee that the Vodai market will generate more revenue if we can tap into that in the early stages, which we can then have that money to reinvest into the Sonai market with our existing product, which were tongue and top at that time. If that was the case, we would have put more money on the commercial team and the advertising to really push the product tongue, and also help out on the top as well, because the performance was slightly dropping at the beginning.
So what year did you remove tops?
I think it's four.
Four.
Yeah.
Was that the right decision then? And how you
Yeah,
withdrew it from the market?
We will try to sold out the inventory. Yeah. So we want to remove it in period 2, but we store it to the period 4. Yeah.
You got any questions? I've never seen him speechless before.
Is that a good sign?
So in terms of the budget allocation between the commercial team and advertising, I see that you sort of put equal emphasis on both of them for period 9. Could you explain why that is the case?
Do you mean for which products?
Well, just looking at your total budget, it's a sort of an equal allocation to the two categories. Why is that? Normally one is dominant over the other, but you've got them equal. I can see the logic for period 10, suddenly advertising appearing very high on a new project being launched. That's very easy to understand. Yeah. It's period 9, I'm not quite clear on your resource allocation between advertising and commercial team. If you could just say something about that, that would be very helpful.
Do you mean for...
Yes, your overall spending is 1.8 million on both commercial team and advertising.
Yeah.
I understand year 10, so don't talk about that. But it's year 9. Why are you going for an equal split of the budget to those two areas?
I think we have to complement the when you increase the advertising, obviously you want to push more sales, so you want to have more people in the commercial team to have that ability or power to maintain that sales, to help us to sell. And obviously with the growing market as well, like the other team has mentioned, we will need a lot more staff in that term to support us.
So if we look across all those brands, is there one brand that's got a lower awareness than another, or are they all about the same level of awareness?
Well, in terms of Tower and Tom, they're both tackling a different segment, but obviously we mentioned that we didn't have enough budget to spend on the market research. So for Tower, starting from period 3, we didn't have enough money to buy the research to adjust the ideal value or to increase the awareness or the intention to purchase. We didn't have that data to analyse it. So Ruby has rightly pointed out that our ideal characteristics wasn't perfect at this time because we didn't have time to have that money to spend on the market research to change the awareness. So I think slightly Tower was dropping from that time, so that's why we wanted to increase the amount of advertising and commercial team just to back it up a little bit.
Oh, alright. Yeah. So I would also like to add is, after a period of 8 terms, we have actually learned a lot in terms of where are we lacking, where are we not lacking. So if you have seen our performances probably are not very consistent enough, but yes, we were market leaders for tones, even in the sunlight market and even in the walleye market for that sake. So, but having said so, the learnings were, the good takeaways were that we actually need to invest a lot of in research and also in our teams, because there was a reason in my presentation I had pointed out that because of lack of research and development or advertising, we could not reach the sales we expected to. So, having said so, we want to make sure and we know what we have to do now. So, hence, we are very accurate on what to do, what not to do, because we have played 8 rounds. So, we know what is to be done now, so how to play around. So.
All right. No, I don't have anything else to would you like to ask one more question while I just have a quick look at this?
I think I've finished. I think you've given us a lot of food for thought there in terms of deciding whether we feel we want to invest the extra money. So I think we'll go and have a conversation and we'll come back to you
you.
Thank you.